Thanks. Well, I appreciate you coming. We're going to have 2 hours together, and it's about as relaxed a training environment as this could be. You're not going to have to say anything if you choose not to. If you have questions, feel free to ask away. Each of these presentations is original. In other words, I'm not teaching something I've taught 20 different times. So even though I just taught a morning session, I make these up on the spot. So you're going to get your own version of what I think and how I work. I've spent 32 years working as a stress therapist in a wide range of fields. NASA's been about a 14-year relationship. I've been in the astronaut office for about 8 years. I'm a coach for the shuttle commanders. I work in the space shuttle and space station programs, but inside NASA, you work with procurement, and you work with legal, and you work with, it's the whole agency. I've done a fair amount of work with the military, Air Force, Army, Navy, the whole deal. And my corporate clients, I've got hundreds of corporate clients that I work with, but most of the corporate work is hit and run. It's unusual when you get a relationship and it's ongoing. And NASA has been that relationship for me, and it's been an extraordinary opportunity for me to get to see how this work that I passionately believe in, how it works when you get to be inside the culture working it. So it's one thing to come and say something, it's another thing it's like parenting. You can tell your brother or sister how they should parent, and then you become a parent. And it's a totally different movie. So I'm going to share some of my beliefs about how life works. In stress management, in a nutshell, it's life management. I am not a nutritionist. I'm not somebody that's going to tell you to deep breathe and find a way to relax, because a lot of you aren't going to do that. Some of you are slower paced, and relaxing for you is easier. Some of us are almost on the hyper side of life, and you're going to find stimulation is going to be something you do. I was an instructor for the SR-71 pilots years ago, and the way some of them de-stressed was they get an F-18 and fly. I mean, it's not as if you do something slow. I mean, some of us will, we want to go play basketball, or we're going to want to read a book, or some of you take a bath, and some of you want to go out and garden and move trees. And so everyone's going to have their own choice here. So it's not that I don't believe in nutrition, exercise, and relaxation. It's just that there's so much written on that. When you're ready to do any one of those three, there is the material available at your fingertips to get there. I want to give you the bigger picture. I'd like to take you into a world where we get into the inside and understand how emotion works, because emotions really the essence of what complicates us when we get stressed out. You get anxious, you get worried, you get frustrated, you get sad, you get angry, you get something. But when you're stressed out, you're not happy. I mean, when's the last time that you've been really, really happy and you go, it's so stressful being happy? I mean, you don't even think in terms of happy being stressful, although you'll find get married, have a baby, do things that we typically associate with happy, win the lottery. And I'll show you that stress is not something that's tied to negative. It's all part of life. And so good things can be very stressful. Maybe some of you have been, or you know somebody, if this hasn't happened to you personally, somebody has gotten into a relationship that's working. You know how stressful a relationship that's working can be? You do. You keep waiting for something to go wrong. And so it's not just about stuff that's not working. Life is a constant challenge, and most of us have not grown up really learning the simple secrets and how to master this thing. So I'm going to give you my take on this, and I'm going to begin by giving you a real simple image, and this image is going to be the basis to the whole 2-hour talk. I'd like you to think of a positive, negative circle. This is life. And all I'm going to do is color code this so that blue is at the top and red is at the bottom. And there's no research behind the choice of color here. But when we're talking about happy, we're going to use the blue reference. When we're talking about anything negative, we're going to have a red reference. Okay? Pretty simple. Now, we have a bias in our culture, and the bias is that we want to get happy. Most of us, when we go to, if you're going to go to a stress seminar, you want to figure out ways in which you can manage your stress better so that you can feel better, right? That's what the learning is for. The motivation is make us feel better. And what's interesting is that life has this ability to keep bringing us down. And you can find that some of you, as you get older, you'll find little things. Your body's not working the same way. Maybe you're not sleeping as soundly as you used to do. You know, the joints start to ache. Little things. Hair starts to fall out. The gums start to bleed. Yeah, it's just amazing how it's just called normal. But life has the way of increasing red. Take dating. I used this with the group this morning. Think about dating. Dating is something, so I'm going to take you, just pretend that none of you are in a relationship. Then you start thinking about, I hate dating. Well, that means that it's not a very positive experience. Right. Well, why is dating such a stressful experience? What's hard about dating? Unknown. It's unknown. And where are you going to meet them? Where do you meet people? Suddenly you're ready for a date. So where do you go meet people? Let's say you refuse to go to a bar or a church.
Grocery store.
So you go to a grocery store. Laundromat. And so all of a sudden you find yourself going to places where even if you go to these normal, everyday, ordinary places, you're going to have to talk to people. Now, I want you to think about, since all of you have met people in laundromats and grocery stores and on the street, in bars, at churches, at school, in classes, at work, we meet people at different places. But how many of us, don't raise your hand, don't acknowledge this, but how many of us have had relationships where we thought, you know, this relationship didn't turn out exactly the way I wanted it to? It started out pretty good. You know, I meet somebody, because you know what a bad date is. I mean, it just makes you not want to date again. But you know what a good date is? A good date is an experience with somebody and you go, man, I had a good time. I'd like to repeat that. It was blue enough, I'd like to do it again. And then if you have a second date, a third date, a fourth date, a fifth date, blue, 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 then what do you decide to do? So somewhere down the road you go, this is so blue, I'm going to get married. And so some of you made the decision that you dated somebody long enough and had enough blue that you got married. And after you got married, what color did you experience? Red. You got red. And so staying married is a very stressful experience. Staying happily married is a very stressful experience. Why? You're sharing life with somebody else. I mean, most of us struggle with ourselves. Just controlling your own moods, your own emotions, trying to deal with your own feelings, your own thoughts, your own pace, your own preferences. Doing your own life is a challenge. Suddenly, you're teaming up with someone else. And then, because you're going to find that it was, truthfully, there's good parts and there's tough parts, and good parts and tough parts. And a lot of us don't really know how to do these tough parts. And so you can see that sometimes we do some not so good things down here. How you fight. Do you fight fair? What do you say when you fight? Do you throw things? Do you get quiet? How many days in a row are you quiet? I mean, how do you handle the adversity of something not going well? And there are very few people that teach us how to do this well. And you'll find that when you're in this phase of the relationship, you'll think about, well, let's have kids. Because how many people decide to have kids down here? Huh? And so when you have kids, you have this kid because you go, wouldn't it be great to have a child? Let's have a baby. Okay. And then watch what happens, because now you're not sleeping. Let's assume the baby's healthy. Let's assume that you two really love each other and the baby's healthy. In the best of circumstances, you're going to experience what color? Red. In the best of circumstances, you're going to experience red. And where in your past have you gotten red skills? Tell me in 4th grade if they taught you how to be angry, how to be sad, how to be frustrated, how to deal with jealousy. Where do we learn these things? No one teaches these things. You'll learn your trade. You'll learn whatever part of Edwards Air Force Base that you work, you'll learn about that piece. You'll learn this job. And some of you are doing some pretty challenging jobs. But it's the people part of our jobs that make this most difficult. What if you have somebody in your group that is difficult, somebody who is demanding, somebody who is moody, somebody who's confrontational? Well, how do you deal with people like this? Because typically if you're dealing with difficult people, they make you feel how? They get you in the red zone, don't you? And you can always tell how you feel because you come home and you usually tell stories about it. And your stories are usually about the people that are bringing you down. And these will be named stories. I work with so-and-so. So-and-so was at work today. Guess what so-and-so said? And it's the same as the kids coming home from school. Your kids will come home from school and say, so-and-so didn't even talk to me today. So-and-so ignored me today. Our stories suggest that the reason we're stressed out is because of other people. Our stories almost never suggest that we're stressed out because of how I'm doing my life. Our stories are almost always about how the things around us are making us get stressed out. There's a decision. We're gonna bid contracts. We're going to decide who gets works. The contractor is going to get some, and civil servants will get some, and we'll call this A76, and we'll put you against each other, and we're going to lowball you. And you're going to start looking at this, and you're going to go, this system's stupid. Who came up with this system? I mean, this is making me nuts. So what color are you? So you're in the red zone. So tell me if hating this system is making you more efficient. Tell me if not agreeing with how this is set up so that the low bid wins, and of course then they're going to need more money because they underbid just to get to work. Tell me the exasperation, of course, and we have to kick the military out because you're too expensive. So tell me how this system works. Tell me, as crazy as this system makes you, where do you go? Where do you go? The system's making you crazy. Where do you go? Inside. Who's showing up? Who's showing up at work? Somebody who's stable, present, focused, aware, accountable, or somebody who's reactive, defensive, cynical, skeptical, exhausted? Which person is developing in this system? How is this system turning you into somebody who's more capable? And you're going to make the system responsible for how you're turning out. You're going to say the decisions they make, this new appraisal system. You're below it, you're above it, you're on. I mean, who does this crazy stuff? Well, that crazy stuff is part of the norm. How you react and respond to it is your challenge. And if you think that the crazy stuff's going to go away, you're in trouble. The crazy stuff's going to continue because somebody has come up with an idea to solve a problem, and the original genesis of that problem solution looked like this is a good way to go. I mean, don't you do it this way? Somebody's going to remodel a house for you. You're going to have a bathroom redone, and you get 3 bids. Do you choose the expensive one? I mean, it's rare that you're going to go, I want the most expensive bid. You're going to lowball it. I mean, it's the same with food. Let's go out to eat. You know, this restaurant's going to cost us about $17 an entree. This restaurant's going to cost us $8.95, and this is all you can eat for $4.99. Where do you go? So the very thing that you continue to judge and react against is what we live inside on a regular basis. What I'm trying to do is to remove the judgment. I'm trying to get you away from your fixation, if you will, and I'm not saying this judgmentally, but whatever you're concentrating on that you don't have control over is contributing to your stress. So I want you to assume, so here's where we're going to begin. I want you to assume that the government, since you work at an Air Force base, that the government is going to make some decisions, guaranteed, that are going to make you crazy. And can we just baseline that? Can we just make that the norm? And so once you get past A76, there'll be some, D77. There'll be some goofy thing that comes down the road, and I assure you, from your point of view, it's not going to make good sense. There are going to be a few of you in this room who have gained tremendous amount of insight, experience, and wisdom, but true capability, and they can't wait to get rid of you because you cost too much. They'd rather hire some young gun that knows nothing. Does that make sense to you? Is it good? Maybe not good, but I want you to know it's just real. So all I'm trying to do is take you to this step one right now. Is this part of life? Yes. Is there any way we can get rid of this? No. We can't get rid of it in marriage because you already told me. I dated blue, 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 blue. All right? They're so blue I got married red. All right? You have a kid. Let's make a baby. Okay, that sounds like fun. And then, we got a baby. So kids, marriage, work. So can you get rid of red? No. So we do know what the goal is. The goal then is what? Purple. Well, purple. Actually, purple, so let's just call the middle here purple. Some of us have mastered mediocrity. Some of us have become masters of the middle. And the problem is some interesting research out of Georgetown University. Let me show you about this. So on a continuum, positive, negative continuum, what do we want in life? So think of your goals, keep it simple, don't think too hard. Okay, good. You want to feel good. Do you want to feel bad? No. So we want this image, is that correct? As much good as possible, as little bad as possible. That is the generic, that's the American way. This is a good Disney movie. There's going to be a little bad, but it always ends good. It starts good, you have something happen, Daddy Lion dies, and then you take over the Lion Pride and Lion King, and there's good music. Little Mermaid, you'll lose your voice for a while, but you'll get the prince. Lots of good stuff. That's us. So let me take you into this research from Georgetown. And the research said this, that if you want to feel good, you have to, one four-letter word, you have to risk feeling bad. It does not say that to feel good, you will feel bad. But you have to risk the possibility. Follow this through. If you do not want to hurt, you are going to give up most of your capability to experience joy. So that one of the problems of taking the safe route, I don't hurt, means you may feel good, but it's going to be little goods. You're not going to feel joy. You're not going to feel bliss. You're not going to really like life. You're just going to keep from having life really get you down. So the point is that if we could figure out how to do this, we increase our chances of that. Does that make sense to you? So when I take you back to here, and this is very important research here, because most of us do not learn how to take risks. Risk-taking, did you have that course? Was that in elementary school? Few of us become risk takers. Watch how many of us, when we end a relationship, say, that's it, I'm not dating anymore, I'm done. Really? Really? Notice how you're sure that they did it to you. Notice how your whole story is about, I was fine, I meet this person, they looked fine, big trap, that was a big lie, they were horrible, and I am now screwed because of it. And how am I going to react to that? I'm done. I am not going to date them. I'm not going to date any of them because they're all the same. Really? Let's go into this a little deeper. Who chose this clown? Who was happy at the moment of choice? You were bragging on people. You know, how many of you, and I asked the group this morning about this, how many of you know somebody who's in a relationship with someone who's not good for them? And you can't tell them. How many of you? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because if they said, do you like this person? How many of you fake blue at that point? Well, they are kind of all right. No, they're this side of a serial killer. How many of you don't tell the truth when we get into this because somebody's just, isn't he great? Don't you just think they're the best? I mean, aren't they? I mean, I've never been this way. And you just want to go, oh, hold on tight, baby, because you're about to go somewhere you've never been. You're about to go to an order of magnitude over miserable. Why? Because you're not choosing people who are good for you. Why is that? Because you don't even know who you are. You don't even choose based on you. You choose based on what looks good. Well, they look good. Or how many people show you exactly what they want you to see? I mean, it's amazing. If you've ever been around a liar, they lie to you early. They tell you they're a liar. And they're just basically telling you, you don't care. Because you're married to the illusion of life. The illusion that it might work. The illusion that this is good. And why is that? Because if we would learn how to do what is just against our nature almost, it's just there's something about this that you go, why would you want to understand what doesn't work? Why would you understand where we're not strong? Why would you literally want to figure out, if I was aware enough that I could date someone and I could see where she would not be good for me, would that be good for me? Think about the question. If I was aware enough to be able to see where somebody was not good for me, would that be good for me? Because it changes my ability to do what? Make a choice. But why am I not aware enough to see what is good for me? Why? Well, we don't choose because we don't know. We don't know out of convenience, but we don't choose because we are choosing. What are we choosing? Are we choosing to feel good, or are we choosing to not feel bad? Are we choosing to feel good? I'll tell you what, a lot of you say you're choosing to feel good, but I want you to do me a favor. I want you to monitor yourself for a week, and I want you to tell me how much of that time during this week you literally feel good. Because most of you that say you want to feel good sabotage yourself at every turn. Something goes wrong, you flip out. What do you mean? What do you mean? Why would you get upset over something as simple as a driver is driving too close to you? And you're about to have a cow. You are just, I'm going to slam on my brakes. Okay, do what you want, but what I want you to do is freeze frame right now your insides. Is your blood pressure up higher? Oh, yeah. All right, you're starting to get worked up. You're getting ticked off over what? An external circumstance. That's the lesson here. I want you to see how external circumstances are controlling our internal mechanisms. So you're married to somebody who suddenly won't talk to you. They're mad at you. And you walk in the house, you go, are you talking today or not? Well, I wasn't not talking. Oh, yeah, here we go. And you watch it because it starts to unravel quick. You're not telling me the truth. You're going to give me the cold shoulder. You're going to be the ice person for 2 days to punish me because I said something. Because I get punished for saying something. See, you program me not to have a voice. Because when I tell the truth, you punish me. So in other words, you're going to make me feel as if I'm a good girl, good boy if I do what you want, and I'm a bad boy if I deviate from you. So how many of us feel like we're in control or we're good and have a relationship with yourself? Because I got news for you. You lose. You cannot be in this game and win. Because the only way that you're going to gain the approval of this person is to lose yourself. And you have done this over and over and over and over again. You have given yourself away thinking that you were getting something from someone else. And what they've done is they've put you on this puppet string. And they play you. And they go, I'll show you. When I like you, you can relax. When I hate you, you can tighten up. So how do I control you? Not like you. It's so easy. Because you need me. So what's the flaw in this game? Your neediness. So we go back to, what if you had learned how to deal with feeling bad so you wouldn't be so needy? What if you could actually live by yourself? Then you'd only be in relationships that were choices. Because the first time you get into a relationship and you go, man, I'm stuck in here. Really? I guess you feel that way about your job. Because if you listen to how some of you complain about your job, you feel like there's no other job. And if you go, well, I'm too close to retirement. Well, then you're not stuck here. You're choosing this. If you're choosing this, then figure out a way to make it work. Yeah, but this A76 and this appraisal system and, civil engineering, they can't possibly do their job right. They underbid this so much. And this base, before you know it, you got this problem and you guys cost too much. And you go, are you aware of how your story every day helps you unravel? What part of what I just said is intended to make you feel good? Now, let me take you into the astronaut office. How important is success? The shuttle costs every time we launch it $500 million. That has nothing to do with the payload that's in the shuttle bay. Has nothing to do with the bigger mission that the shuttle is serving. Nothing to do with the training of the people, the 7 people on board. We're just talking about the shuttle itself. Each launch is $500 million. Now, for some of you that think that's a lot of money, we pay a shortstop on the New York Yankees $262 million to play a game, and they didn't win the World Series this year. $262 million for a shortstop. What do you think some of the pop culture is getting and movie stars are getting for music that you can't even stand? If our mission to Mars in the year 2025, in order for us to get there, we solve 5 of the major problems on the planet, is it worth the investment? Water, food, waste, radiation, and propulsion systems, movement. We're not going to do Mars unless you solve these problems. We have to invest in ourselves. You're investing in yourself right now. You're trying to figure out, how can I become in charge of my own life? So that regardless of what craziness is around me, I don't unravel. Someone tailgates me, someone passes me, someone looks at me crooked, somebody is married to you and they don't even like you. If you find out someone's married to you and they don't like you, what do you do? Come on, talk to me as if you're smart. You get unmarried. You get unmarried. And then some of you go, yeah, but my faith is such that I can't unmarry. Well, your faith is goofy then. Because there's no God that I can think of, and I'm a Christian, I'm telling you, my faith's important to me. There is nobody that I know who really practices faith smart, that has a belief that your job is to be miserable and abused. What we do is we conveniently define stuff to give us permission to stay stuck. We get stressed out because of us. We're not stressed out because the government's goofy. We're stressed out because how I react to the government. In the astronaut office, we train for failure. We never train for success. We never, ever train for you to have a happy mission. There is no training for your happiness. We don't care if when you're on the space shuttle, you're happy. We want you functional. We want you capable. We want you back alive. And so what are we going to look for? We intentionally look for what? We look for problems. We look for problems. And we're looking in what color for these problems? Red. We're going after red. Where is this going to fail? Where do we have a problem? Is there a leadership issue? Where is there a teaming issue? Is there a performance issue? Effectiveness, efficiency. What do we have to look at? Are we training well? How do we make this move better? How do we improve us? We literally looked at our lives the way astronauts train for orbit. What if we said, all right, what aren't you doing well? Oh, I hate conflict. That's a real common one. What else don't you like to do? Oh, I can be really neurotic. I worry and worry and worry. Okay, what else? Oh, I can be really moody. I'll go up and down and up and down. Okay, what else? When you start looking, learn who you are. And then we have to figure out a way, how do we train, how do we learn who we are so we can get past us? Because the enemy here is not A76. The enemy is your reaction to normal life. Is anyone surprised that the government might come up with a plan that's not the most effective or efficient plan? Okay, so you've answered that question. So why would you react? We don't need, because you see, your reaction, emotion is high energy. Emotion takes a tremendous amount of energy. Anybody know anybody that's been depressed this past year? Depression. What's interesting about depression is the people who are depressed have no energy, but depression takes a tremendous amount of energy. You'll have no energy. And what's interesting about depression is that if you are married to someone who's depressed, they'll have no energy soon, too. Because it's like a black hole in the universe. It collapses energy. You're going to find that you can come home and you start off in this blue space and you're feeling pretty good, but after a while, they're stuck down here. And what do we try to do? What do we do to have people who are stuck down here? Don't we try to make them feel better? We try to bring them up. And when we bring them up, how long do they stay? Long enough to pull you back down. So before you know it, you're both down here. Do depressed people want to get happy? No. But will they say they do? Yeah. Because we live in a culture of fake blue. You'll hear people go, I wish I felt better. Really? You want to check it out? You want to check it out? Can we just pretend that the 50 of you want to feel better? And let's just pretend. And we're going to call this the end state. And the end state is feeling better or feeling good. Can we just pretend that that's your goal? And I'm going to make this goal a single day goal, so one goal, one day at a time, which is what most of you don't do. You'll just say, I want to get happy. And you don't even put a timeline on it. For an hour, till lunchtime, do you think you can go one day being happy? That means you have to listen to your stories, because your stories give it away. Because most of you can get unhappy over nothing. Believe me, if some driver who you don't even know gets close to your car, can get you to unravel. Or kids. You have kids. Some of you have kids. One pimple can flip them out. The wrong shirt, I'm ruined. And you wonder, it takes nothing for them to get to the red zone. Look at this mess that we're in. Not only are we in the red zone over nothing, we spend an inordinate amount of time trying to make, listen to the language, make people blue. Let me cook your favorite meal. We wonder why we have eating disorders, because we're gonna eat you into happiness. Let's go drink. We need to drink. We need to drink more often. Let's go shopping. We need to buy an antique, or we need to get a CD, or we need to get something. We need a trip. Notice how the way that we deal with internal stuff is external mechanism. food, shopping, drinking, travel. Most of us do not deal with internal stuff by going inside. Most of us deal with internal stuff by going outside. We go outside to deal with inside. How many people are in an unhappy marriage that have an affair? They deal with the inside by going outside. We do things because we're looking for the feel good. Now, this is the end state. We want to feel good, but we're going to raise our consciousness on how we get there. So it's very important how we get there. This is the present state. So this is where you are right now. In the present state, you wake up this morning, how do you feel? So on a 0 to 100 scale, if you, before your feet leave the bed and hit the ground, if you gave yourself a grade. Now, okay, now you're going to give yourself, now some of you, for instance, my wife has to have 2 cups of coffee before she wakes up. So she'd give herself a lower grade just from being, I'm still asleep. Or I'd rather not wake up. I'd rather still be in bed. Some people wake up, they're at 95 out of the gate. It's really an interesting marriage when some people wake up at 10 and they're married to people who wake up at 95. And they do find each other, don't they? So there are rules in some of those marriages. And you know what's interesting? Who controls the rules in this marriage? Exactly. Now I want you to think about this. Between someone who's depressed and someone who's happy, who controls the rules of that marriage? The depressed one. The person who doesn't want to have sex and the person that does want to have sex. Who controls the frequency of sex? That doesn't. This end has tremendous power. There is great power for those of us that are unhappy. For those of you that are angry or sad or frustrated, there's tremendous power here. And so by the way, those of you that deal with difficult people, most difficult people are difficult by design. They are difficult because they're powerful. Because we don't have difficult people skills. What if you had great difficult people skills? And somebody was difficult and you're able to just completely just let it go. Whoa, man, they're having a day. But I mean, it took no more energy for me to it's just like water on a duck's back. It just was a little, it's like turtle waxing your shoulders here and putting water in there and just beat it up. It's nothing. It's nothing. But you watch how there are certain people who get to you. It's so opposite from nothing. It's major. It's big. It's everything. And your story, you go to lunch with your girlfriends and you go, guess who called? And they already know because they've been hearing this story now for 3 months. Oh, Frank called. Yes. And what happens is you tell your story over and over and over again. After a while, your friends, they can't tell you this because they're fake and blue. But what they want to say is, get a dog, find a priest, read a book. I can't hear about Frank. Because people get stuck in their stories, don't you? Don't you? You know what's interesting about stories is sometimes we tell our stories so long that we start to get sick of our own stories. You know you've told it too many times when you're getting sick of it. When you start to catch yourself, oh, did I tell you? Oh, yeah, I think I have. I'll never forget, I was 23 years old. And I went to high school with this woman who was kind of like we called her Mom. It's really interesting when there's a kid in high school that gets the nickname Mom. But she was just, she's the mother hen. And she was just wiser or something, I don't know. But you didn't date her Mom. It's probably tough in her social life. And she asked me when she was 23 years old, and so I'm 23 too, she said, are you still telling your brother died story? When I was 16, 2 months from 17, my brother died of cancer. And it was, I wasn't very close to my brother, so I will tell you that it was huge trauma to my family. but it wasn't a huge trauma to me personally. What I loved when I was in high school was baseball. I mean, I loved baseball. And if I went on a date, and what's your first name?
Andrea.
Andrea. And so Andrea and I are on a date, and she goes, we really don't know each other, and she goes, so what do you like to do? And I go, baseball. She goes, oh. Yeah, that worked well. And she goes, so what did you do this summer? I said, well, we had kind of a crazy summer. My brother died of cancer. Well, what are the chances of her asking a question about that? Pretty high. It was incredible. I'd tell my baseball story, my favorite thing in the world. I couldn't get any energy. I'd tell my brother died story, and you guys are all over me. You start, oh, when did he get sick, and how was that, and how did you do this? And before you know it, I'm going, man, you're reinforcing my brother died story, because I'm trying to get close to you because I like you, and I'm finding that what I like story isn't getting me anywhere. So what went wrong to me story is getting me close. Wonder which story I'm going to tell again. So which story worked, Andrea? Brother died story. Apparently it worked a little too well, because Mary Kay asked me when we were 23, are you still telling your brother died story? I was horrified. He did die, Mary Kay. Yeah, and everybody knows. It was such a gift that she gave me, and I had no idea because I was mortified. But I got the beginning of a very important part. You see, our stories are a lot like Broadway sets. Go see a Broadway play. Imagine going to see Phantom of the Opera without a set. The play is made by the set synergistically combining with the story and the music. Because we're visual people. Sesame Street. Look at how these kids learn. It's visual. It's visual connecting with the emotional. Our stories create visuals of why I'm in pain, why I hurt. And a lot of us have a relationship with our story. We told our story how many times? Over and over. You tell your poverty story, you tell your how many times you moved story, or your hair wasn't curly when things were straight, or you tell this, my dad drank story, or a rape or incest story, or my house burned down, or what? What's your story? But I promise you that the 50 of us who share this room right now are storytellers. And I'm trying to get you aware that the story that you tell in the present interferes with you getting to the end, because it creates an energy field. When I tell a victim story, I'm a victim. When I tell a survivor story, I'm a survivor. You know how few survivor stories we hear every day? When we go to lunch with our buddies, there are a few of us telling survival stories. We don't talk about survival. We don't talk about accountability. We talk about what? What's wrong? And you almost never hear, my life's so screwed up. Well, what happened? I did it myself. I do it every day. You wouldn't believe this. I wake up and I do this. And you would laugh. You laugh, you go, that's funny. It's only funny because it's so preposterous, because what do we say instead? Frank did it. My wife, my ex-wife, my dad, my dog, my neighbor. But it's never me. We don't go from here to here until the story becomes about me. See, as long as your story is about other people, that means unless other people change, you lose. What kind of control do you have over other people? Zero. And yet your stories suggest you have control over other people. You notice this. Just watch the energy that you invest every day in trying to change other people. I gave an assignment to the last group, and I'll repeat it. No unsolicited advice. Stop giving unsolicited advice to people. You know why we give advice to people? Because we're trying to change them. And just, if you pay attention, when I started paying attention to this, by the way, this whole thing came up just so I can personalize this for you. Because I'm at this restaurant with my wife, we're having this special dinner, and this waiter said, "You want to order this?" I said, "I do?" "Absolutely, it's the best thing on the menu. Count me in." And I get this meal, and I mean, it was horrible. So my wife, you know, she's eating, she's real happy. "How's your dinner?" "It's horrible." And she just tenses up. Because she goes, "I know what you're going to do. It's not only that you're going to send it back." Now, I'm not aware of this yet. You know, I know I'm going to send it back. I mean, I got no problem sending food back. Well, I'm paying for it. But what I was unaware of was that I send it back and I give advice to the restaurant. I was totally unaware of this. And she said, "The waiter doesn't want to hear what you think." And I got real defensive. I went, "Well, they shouldn't say, I mean, he recommended this." You hear it? You hear how you get reactive and defensive? "Well, he recommended da 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 da." But what's interesting, because the way that you get to hear are through two A words. And I know it's all about you, but the A words you first become aware. You're going to have to see what you're not willing to see. You're going to have to notice what you don't notice. You notice what you want to notice. You notice what you've always noticed. It's easy to notice what you notice. This is about noticing what you don't notice. The reason we train for failure before you're going to fly is that there's so much money being spent on this. We want to, ensure the investment. We're going to make you see things that how many of you get evaluated at work? Raise your hand if you get evaluated at work. How many of you go through that same process at home? See, they're making an investment in you. They're paying you a salary. They're going to try to grow you. They're going to grow your awareness, your consciousness, your capability. And so you're going to get evaluated. It's amazing how many of us say, "My home life's more important than my work life," and there's no evaluation. A lot of judgment, no evaluation. What's the feedback mechanism? How do you know if you're not the problem at home? How do you know if it's not about you? How do you know that you're not bringing in all of your old patterns, your old toxicity, your own attitudes, your own junk? And the reason why relationships aren't working are not because you choose wrong, it's because you pollute them. How do you know? Oh, the worst part about this is in order for you to become aware, you're going to have to voluntarily choose red. And in this positively biased cultures of ours, that's just, "Oh no, I can't do that. I am not going to feel bad." What do you mean you're not going to feel bad? You told me. Did you not? Is this your goal or not? Did you say that the end state is, "I want to feel good"? Well, then you're going to feel bad. You want a marriage to work? You're going to have to learn how to fight. You want a marriage to work? You're going to have to learn how to be with this person when you don't like them. You're going to have to get over the times that you don't like to get to the times that make it worthwhile. You know, the research on marriage, just use marriage as an example here, is fascinating to me. People have been married their entire life when researched, how in the heck did you make it? Without exception, the people in this database said the same thing. We made it through bad times. None of them said we learned how to party. Now we drank every night. We danced and drank. That's how we made it. No, you're going to have these times and you're going to go, "I don't think I like you." You're going to lay next to your partner some morning and look at them and go, "How did I choose you? I don't like you. I don't like me being with you. I am here." And if you can figure out how to be with you and be with them while you are here, you are going to learn something that's going to serve you. Now you're developing a tool. And this tool is going to work in your favor. But if you think that if you just found the right person, you would never have this, illusion. You're not in the real world. They don't exist. You know why? Because you can't be there with yourself. Your own judgment at yourself. Do you know, look how easy it is for you to judge yourself. Let's just start with your body, because the body's an easy place to start. Let's just start right there. How many of us look in the mirror and just both thumbs up? Oh, yeah. And some of you actually have a scale in your bathroom. You crack me up. You actually have a scale so there's data behind your beat up. Why don't you just duct tape the number you want it to say on it? You know, just put 108. Oh, I made it. Because I'm telling you, that's how attitude works. It's your choice. You can weigh 150 and act like 108. Or you can be 150 and act like 508. Your problem is judgment. It doesn't matter how you look. I promise it doesn't matter how you look. You're wrong. You have a relationship with being wrong. You don't have a relationship of acceptance. You don't look in the mirror and accept imperfection. You find fault. And if this one part's working and this one part's okay, you'll find the part that isn't. Why? That's what you do. That's who you are. And then you wonder why you're stressed out. I'll tell you why you're stressed out, because you hurt yourself all the time. That's just one issue, body image. Let's assess your communication skills. How well do you listen? When's the last time somebody gave you feedback and you listened to it? I mean, listened to it. Not reacted, because some of you have your hand on the trigger. We need to talk. Not talk. I don't want to have the talk. We need to talk. I don't want to have the talk. Why? You're so sure the talk's going to take you where? Last week I was at Kennedy Space Center. I spend a lot of time at Johnson Space Center and Kennedy Space Center. And I was doing this work with Boeing. And my Boeing boss said, I need to give you some feedback. I swear I'm telling you the truth. As soon as he said that, where'd I go? I feel like I'm on a 737 that's having turbulence. What do you do when you're in an airplane that has turbulence? You hold on to the armrest as if it's going to help. He goes, I want to give you some feedback. And he gave me 3 incredibly positive pieces of feedback. There wasn't a single but. You're doing really good, but you stink. No, you're waiting for the but. I can prove to you you're no good. I'm going to tell you something good, suck you up, then touch your legs out from under you. We're so sure it's going to be negative, aren't we? Aren't we? I've got feedback for you. We need to have a conversation. You know why we don't listen well? Because you've made yourself wrong before they speak. And in order for us to have an experience in which we can actually feel good, we're going to have to make peace with ourselves. My wife's not my enemy. She says this to me on a regular basis. She goes, I think you're missing a point here. I'm the one that loves you, and you listen to me as if I'm the one that hates you. And I hear her say that, and it throws me off every time she says that, because I go, do I trust that she loves me? Yes. Then why do I react when she's giving me insight, input, feedback? If this is someone who loves me, who's giving me this feedback, why am I so sure it's corrective action? Why am I so sure? And I'll tell you why. Because we've grown up with a lot of feedback not being about love. Because we grow up, and these are very familiar patterns for us. And I can take you back, and of the 50 of this room, I'll bet you 45 of us, probably closer to 48 of us, grew up in households where there was a fair amount of stress and energy around trying to contain you, trying to keep you from doing something wrong, and make you do well, perform for us, almost like some type of seal at a circus. Get a good grade. But once you get a good grade, I'm now going to make you wrong, Sean, because now you're probably going to be cocky and conceited and full of yourself. So I'm going to make you lose no matter what you do. I'm going to tell you to perform, and then once you've performed, I'm going to tell you, don't you take yourself too seriously, young man. You just go, wait a minute, I can't win no matter what I do. Okay, so what's familiar with you? Not winning. Don't make this wrong now. You got to remove the judgment to become a learner. You cannot learn if you're going to judge what you see as wrong. You learn by being willing to see the truth. When we train for failure in the astronaut office, we are looking for what the true weakness is. We don't make the weakness wrong. We have to identify the weakness to adjust our training to compensate for it. Are you following this? You have to remove the judgment. So think of an Etch-a-Sketch. You know, you've just been drawing all, shake it. Remove the judgment. Now, if you grew up in craziness, if your household was full of tension and emotion and energy that just certainly not what we would call healthy, stable, loving, okay? By the way, that's the norm. I'm 54 years old, and I'll tell you, in my generation, the norm was not healthy, stable, loving. Our parents raised us the way their parents raised them, the way their parents raised them. You know how old this is? I mean, if you think about the parenting, the parental gene pool, how old it is. I mean, go read Clan of the Cave Bear. Go all the way back to the cave people and see our parenting styles have come from some genesis. And most of it has a certain amount of junk with it, okay? Can you go with me? Okay, so junk is familiar, isn't it? Home for the Holidays. Watch the movie. And what are you going to see? This family cannot figure it out. Why? What is their pattern? Their pattern is what? Conflict. What are they going to do? Disagree. What have they always done? Disagree. So when they get together, what's going to happen? Because do they know any better? What have they grown up with? What's familiar? So if you have grown up with disagreement, what are the chances of you finding a partner that's going to be peaceful? Some of you are actually going to find this high energy, and you know what's really funny about that? You know what you'll call this person? The P word? This is while you're dating. This is after you've been together. Why? Because in the beginning, I'll do anything to make you blue. I'll tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to take all of this energy, this craziness, all this familiar energy, and I'm going to focus it on one end state. And the end state is not me feeling good, it's what? Making you feel good. I'll make you feel good because I'm going to catch a bass. And I'm baiting the hook, and I'm throwing it out there. And every time I put bait on this hook, it's you feel good. And once you let your guard down and you go, I think I'm falling in love with this guy. Come on in now. Come on in. You know why? Because I'm going to get you to let go of yourself to make me feel good because you're going to reverse this. And all of a sudden, when it gets crazy, although you're not going to be happy, you're going to go, there's something weird and familiar about this. I'm miserable and I feel at home. Have you ever read about or known a woman that's been abused and she can't leave? Why? Because it's familiar. It's not because she's not smart. Have you ever seen people that you know who are really smart stay in relationships that are really bad? There are people who work here on this base, and this base is not healthy for them. But you'll stay in this because crazy is more familiar than healthy, stable, loving. You either figure out a way to make this healthy, stable, loving, or you get out of it. And if you won't get out of it and you stay miserable, I'm telling you, you got good at miserable, didn't you? But don't tell me for a second that this is your goal. That's your facade. That's your illusion. This is a fairy tale. You no more want to feel good because you feel good when you feel crazy. We have to break the pattern. You're following this? The way we recover is by knowing the pattern. Know it, watch it, learn it, become part of it. Stop making it wrong. You are not going to eliminate this. Let me take you to a radio. All right, now I'm speaking for myself right now. All right? Because some of you will hate opera music, some of you will hate rap music. Pick a music you hate. Name one. Heavy metal. All right, heavy metal. All right, so on this radio right now, so we have a radio right now, and you got a dial, and right there is where heavy metal is. Right? And what's your first name? Carla. So, Carla, it doesn't matter whether you ever go to this station or not. Is this the heavy metal station? Well, help me out. This is not a difficult, this is simple. Now, what type of music do you like?
Jazz.
Jazz. So there's a jazz station. Now, this is a radio. Because she stays here and listens to this, is this still there? All right, remember that. Simply because you focus on this doesn't mean this is gone. Are you watching this? You may break patterns and may go from this crazy past of yours into a healthy present, but heavy metal still exists on this radio. And I'm telling you that the ease at which you go back to music you don't like, it's just so easy. And you need to be forgiving of yourself when you go back to heavy metal and you go, you know, I remember better now than ever. I don't like this. And you have to leave it. But you have to make peace that your past is always in there. You don't go to therapy and get rid of it. We don't go to liposuction and eliminate it like we go after a fat cell. This is in there. And the people who are healthiest in our culture are the people who have figured out a way how to coexist with their junk. You don't get rid of the junk, you use it. You know, the junk made you stronger. You don't get to a point where you feel good unless you have a relationship with feeling bad. It is your ability to go beyond feeling bad that gives you a feel-good capability. It's the scariest part about having kids who haven't hurt yet. Because the hurt's coming. You know the hurt's coming. It's just part of life. It's not wrong. We have to become aware. And so part of my job in this 2 hours is to just jumpstart you into activating higher levels of awareness. Become more aware. Become aware of your stories. Become aware of how every single time you feel, because some of you are really moody people. You choose it. You have no clue. You are unaware, but your moods are chosen by you. Yes, there's biochemistry to this, but I got news for you. A lot of you choose exactly the experience that you're having. And how we get past that, I'll tell you what it's going to take for us to get past it. You know what it's going to take? Toughness. Some of you aren't tough. You're weak. You know it's true. It's like us on a diet. I mean, how easy it for us to break the diet? When I was in the astronaut office, one of the first things I saw in the astronaut office is this creed. And it says to be disciplined at all times. And I read that and I went, I could never fly. Why? I'm disciplined when I'm strong. You need to have a relationship with your own weakness. And you need to see what's not working. And you need to know that what your tendency is going to be to do is to run away. I don't want to see it. Why? Because it's going to hurt. It's not true. I got news for you. The truth is true. And it's easier for this not to be about you, because if it's about you, meet the second word. You want to feel good? Be accountable to feeling good. Make the choices you need to make. Do what you need to do. Find a way to make peace with the pain. Get tough enough to coexist with the hurt. I am terrified because of our emphasis on self-esteem. It's so much more important for you to feel good. Feeling good should not be what the goal is, literally, in life, in terms of the overall goal. I know I gave it to you as an end state for one day because we're fixated on it. But if you want to take a look at the most functional people on this planet, on a positive-negative circle, what do? They can do the whole thing. When you're having something good happen, you can be with joy. When you're having something bad happen, you learn how to hurt. When you're around other people who feel good, you can celebrate their joy. How many of you have been around, and you don't have to acknowledge this, but how many of you, when you have something good happen, you have people around you who they can't even hear it? It's like they're competing with your own goodness. But I'm telling you, as soon as you feel bad, they'll be all over you. They're Peace Corps workers, and they've made you a developing country, and they'll move in for 2 years. As soon as you feel bad, they'll move in. But when you feel good, it's like, it can't really be serious. So I want you to understand, part of being accountable, let's go to Dallas. We're going to be a tree. I want you to be a tree in Dallas 4 years ago. I want you to be a tree in Dallas 4 years ago. Okay? You're a tree in Dallas. Now here's the deal. A tree in Dallas, you had 66 days of over 100 degrees and no rain. 66 days, over 100 degrees and no rain. You're a tree in Dallas. What happens? It's very dry, but what do? I mean, you're a tree. You got to survive this. I mean, this is a real thing. I'm giving you a meteorological fact. Okay, so you drop leaves because you don't have the moisture in there, but what happens internally to this tree? Because most of the oak trees in Dallas survived. What did they do to survive? They developed why? In search of water. That's us. When you get diagnosed with an illness, when you have a parent that gets sick, when you get the IRS that suddenly gets on your back, when you have a fire that destroys your home, when you have something happens, a kid gets leukemia, I mean, all you got to do is turn on the television, even if it's not happened to you yet. I mean, how many families have kids in Fallujah right now? I mean, you watch these pictures, 20-year-olds, you watch these pictures. I've got two 20-year-olds, and I look at these pictures, and I'm telling you, I have the toughest time making those kids be my kids. My experience with my kids, it's just so much more insulated. I watch these Marines, and I go, it doesn't matter what we politically think. We have got to support these kids. And we have become halfway. We do this well. You know, I'm watching the election and I'm thinking, oh man, this is bad. We lose no matter who wins. 50% of this country is going to feel like a loser. And the thing that bothered me the most, because I'm a political nut, I love the process. The thing that bothers me the most is that we spend more energy finding ways to disagree than finding ways to bridge our differences. We will listen to the single word, the single issue that makes me suddenly go from liking you to hating you. Actually, it's not about hatred at all. It's all about fear. The biggest enemy in our life is this. Because it's fear that activates the judgment. It's fear. I'm afraid if your ideology is in control, if your race is in control, if your religion is in control, if your gender is in control, I'm afraid what? It's amazing how we can get ourselves all worked up. And you watch the media and you can see how because the media is not the problem. All they do is they're trying to mirror the problems. But did you hear the bridge? The political system, they won't get elected if they act like the bridge. Why? Because we personally engaged in the differential. We wanted there to be enough of a difference so it was easier to vote. The greater the difference, the easier this is. I had people, it's amazing. I had friends call me up and they were just, oh man, have you been celebrating or what? And clearly this is a good friend of mine in Texas who's a big Bush supporter. And, I got to tell you, I wasn't happy afterwards. But I knew I wasn't going to be happy going into the election. Because what bothers me is we continue to learn how to separate. We do not know how to come together. 9/11 was a unique moment when it brought us together, and how much pain did it cause us? We do not get past our judgment unless our pain is so extreme that we finally we kind of push ourselves away and we become Americans. I've been working on a book for about 5 years, and I wrote a chapter during 9/11 because I was so upset as I'm watching Walmart flags on all these cars driving around. And the title of this chapter is Soft Spots. Because I don't see Americans as tough anymore. I mean, it's so easy to call ourselves patriots. But you don't win this war, whatever the war is. I don't even know what the war is, but whatever the war is we're fighting, whether it's poverty, clearly the war is attitudinal differences. We create more terrorists. Whatever this war is, whether it's Iraq or it's Korea in the future, because there's always going to be another one. It's just like government A-76s. There's always going to be somebody we disagree with. How do we find common? How can you look in the mirror and find common? With your own judgment, your own imperfection, because the world's seriously imperfect. The two parties, seriously imperfect. How do we find common? How do we start the bridge? And I'm telling you, we cannot get there if we're afraid. We cannot get there if we're halfway. And somehow we're going to have to find a way to coexist. And you coexist with difference. We have to coexist with difference. And once you start to do this internally with yourself, I got to coexist with my fear, my anxiety, my junk, my past. My dysfunctional patterns, have to find a way to live with my new functional choices. Are you following this? Heavy metal with jazz. My dysfunctional choices, they're always going to be in there. I've got to find a way to coexist with Roger. My battle, Lord of the Rings, Part 4, is inside me. It's me. It's not A-76. It's not Edwards. It's not the government. It's not the Democratic or Republican Party. It's not Iraq. It's not Korea. It's me. It's what I bring to the table. And the healing that we have to do, and I mean, this is the essence of stress management. This is why I went beyond nutrition, exercise, and relaxation. It is, I have to have a relationship with myself. Clearly, the world is going to push me into this place where I'm going to have to develop deep roots to stay alive. I mean, there's somebody in this room right now, the 50 of us, there's somebody in this room dealing with cancer right now. It's just a statistical fact. And when you got the diagnosis, where did you go? Right? Uh-oh. Whoa. My own mortality comes into question. Or maybe it was your partner, maybe your kid, but this is what happens. And what do you have to do to conquer it? I have volunteered at St. Jude's Cancer Research Center in Memphis for several years. It was the strangest thing. I don't know what came. I had this dream one night that I've got to volunteer in cancer. And I just called the hospital. I swear this is the truth. It's just too weird. I got the chills telling you this. I called the hospital, to volunteer. I mean, I'm living in a totally different city than Memphis. And I call and I say, I want to come and donate these talks. Now, they don't even know who I am or anything. The director of nursing had my tapes on her desk that morning when I called. How weird is that? She said, we would love for you to come in and teach us. And so I flew myself to Memphis, and I would give these talks to parents and staff if they'd teach me how kids did cancer. What I learned from this experience. And the thing that really got to me about this was the kids are tougher in the fight over their own cancer than the parents. We're so afraid of what's happening to them. Remember this little kid that had, it was Maddie, this poet. I mean, I got the buzz. I mean, this kid is amazing. He was not afraid to die, which means he lived. How many of us are afraid to live? Because we're afraid to die. When it comes back to it, it's about taking risks. If you die and if you've not experienced love, you haven't done your work. You haven't done your work. You've gone safe. I don't care how many times you've been hurt by bad relationships. You got to do it again. You got to figure out a way to take you into the relationship so that you can experience what having somebody adore you feels like. And maybe it's going to be a friend. Maybe it's not going to be a lover. Maybe it's going to be a child that you adopt. But you cannot do this experience called life without having this. Because if you do, then you've missed out on essentially what makes us human. You can't do this. I remember during this in a previous marriage that I had, we had this huge fight. I mean, this was a big fight. This is one of those fights where anything's possible. And I had these two doves in a cage. And I had doves because my grandfather, is my favorite person in the world. And when I'd go to Bethesda, Maryland, where he lived, there were always doves. So I hear the sound of doves. I remember Grandpa. You know how things take us back? Sometimes it's a smell or it's a sound. And so I just love doves. So there were these doves at this pet store, and I got the doves, and I brought them home. And this one dove just kept picking at the head of this other dove. The one dove was bald. I swear, this pink head, no feathers. And during this fight, I said to my ex-wife, I feel like the dove. I got no feathers. And during this argument, of course, I'm so dramatic anyway. During this argument, I go, can you imagine being a bird and never experiencing flight? This was a metaphor to me being a human and not experiencing love. I was so frustrated by the lack of love in this. I went and I got these birds, and I took them outside and I let them go. And she's screaming, they're going to die within a day. Yeah, but they will have flown. And I swear I'm telling you, I can't believe I'm telling this story. And these two birds, they flew immediately, and I thought, I don't know how old these birds are. I have no way of telling the age of a bird. But can you imagine that the instinct to fly, they never were little birds and learned to fly. They were sure they were raised in a cage. They flew immediately. And yes, some cat got them in the next day. But I'm telling you that it was about that flight. And it was, for me, the image I needed. I have to choose. I personally have to choose whether or not that flight is worth a cat. Because I can stay in a cage. Because some of you are in attitudinal cages. One of my clients is one of the men who stayed at the Hilton Hanoi, the Hanoi Hilton, but it was a prisoner of war camp during Vietnam. There were 199 prisoners there. And his name is Charlie Plum. And Charlie's from California. He's a very recognized speaker. His story, it's an amazing story. But Charlie spent 6 years in an 8x8 cell. 6 years in solitude. And he tells the story, and he wears this garb when he tells the story. It's so powerful. And he walks in 3 directions and 1 direction and hits the wall. This is the most he could ever walk for 6 years. In any one direction. And he came out of the experience in Vietnam grateful. And I wanted to know how. Because I haven't been in an 8x8 cell and I haven't been feeling very grateful. So how do you get there? And when you hear his story, he said that when he got shot down 4 days before he was to leave. He was an A4 pilot. 4 days before he was to leave Vietnam, he got shot down. And while he was parachuting down, the Viet Cong are on the ground shooting at him. So the tendency is to look down while you're parachuting, except he doesn't want to take an AK-47 around in his face. So he's looking up. And as he's looking up, there are these panels to his parachute. And there are 4 panels, I guess, to the parachute. And he said this silly little visual had this tremendous impact on me when I was in prison. And while I was in prison, I thought about the people who have been the panels, the parachute panels in my life. And he was a man who had a strong faith, so God was there. He was a man who was blissfully married, so his wife was there. He loved his wife. And he listed number 3 was the superintendent of the Naval Academy. He was one of the few Navy people there, one of 2. And a high school coach. I wonder how many people would list you. I wonder how many people who would be stuck in some prison for 6 years in an 8x8 cell would say, man, there's this friend of mine, my mom, my brother, my neighbor. I mean, you know what this job is. It's about us becoming the type of people in which we have that kind of influence over someone else, and we never even tried. We weren't trying to be funny or popular or anything. We were just being ourselves. And so he goes through this unbelievable ordeal for 6 years. You know, when he comes out, he remembered his wife every single day he was in prison. He relived all of their dates. You know, it's funny, you could ask somebody, do you know what your wife wore when you first met her? I got no clue. But in prison, you would. We don't know how to access the information. Some of us could never remember the first line of a movie. I mean, some of us can't remember the title of the last movie we rented. And yet in prison, some of us, it's amazing how they could replay the entire movie. It's in there. And so he dated his wife. He redated his wife. He relived all of these tremendous moments with her. And when he came out, he found out that 6 months before he was released, she divorced him because she didn't know he was alive. She didn't know. These are MIA POWs. And she remarried. And he never, ever felt bad. He saw her, he loves her, he thanked her for the impact that she had on his life. It is not about ownership. It is about influence. And our job is to become influences. I need you to influence me, I need to influence you, and there is this synergistic relationship where we stop letting the crap beat us down. You do not need to be controlled by any government policy. Or some, you know, so what if they give you some rating and they say that, you know, you're below the line? Let go be below the line, but be an extraordinary human being. In the movie A Beautiful Mind, I love this movie. Of course, my brother is a paranoid schizophrenic, and I have a family relationship with schizophrenia. And there's this scene in the movie when John Nash is, his son almost drowns. Bad scene with the bath. He's babysitting. And his wife knows that she can't manage, she can't do her life and have him be, she didn't know how to do both. She was just at wit's end. And he's pleading with her. Do you remember this scene in the movie? He's pleading with her, you can't commit me, because if I'm committed here, I'm done. And she looks at him and she says, I have to believe something extraordinary is possible. That's why you came to this talk. You instinctively have a sense, we do as human beings, where we have this belief that something extraordinary is possible. And that silly appraisal system is never going to spot it. It doesn't have the radar. You will be her. You will live with her. And you're going to have to make peace with all of those parts that just don't cut it. But this is what gives us a relationship with extraordinary. I mean, if all I was happy and if all I was perfect, if every single one of us had perfect bodies and we never had any emotion other than just happiness, it'd be the most mediocre, bland experience that you can imagine. You know, I have this picture of my grandfather who was this favorite person in my whole life. And I never saw this as a kid, I got to tell you this. I have this picture, and Grandpa was this really big guy. I mean, he was fat. He was really big. I never saw Grandpa as fat. I never, ever saw Grandpa as fat. And I have this picture of him, and we're walking down some country lane, and Grandpa's holding my hand. And I'm just like, I mean, this is my Super Bowl. This is peak. I never saw fat. When did I start seeing fat? Because the eyes of love don't see it. But our judgment will see it. You'll find a way to make yourself wrong. And so, there are 3 things I'm going to leave you with. And what's the time? It's noon. All right, good, I have time. There are 3 things I'm going to leave you with. And if you've got to take a bathroom stop, we're taping this, so you'll get to see the part that you'll be missing. But I got to keep going until 12:30. Number 1. The single most underrated skill in life. The single most underrated skill in life is the skill of letting go. It is the essence of contentment. There may be nobody in your life experience at this point that you personally know who is either there or close to contentment. But if they are, I assure you that these are people who have mastered letting go. They are not defined by what they have, by how they look. They are not defined by any external component. No house, no car, no bank account. We have to figure out how to let go. And I shared this with the group this morning, that letting go is interesting because in order to let go, you're going to have to hold on to something. If I could, Andrea, could you stand up just for a second? I want to show how this works. So let's say I want to, no, you hold on to this. I don't care, let's say junk from my past. Anger with an employee or an employer. It doesn't matter what I'm letting go of. Judgment about myself. If I want to let go of something, if I want to get rid of it, if I don't simultaneously choose something else to hold on to, I will not let go of this. There is a relationship, watch this, between this. And a lot of you, what you do is you want to let go of this, but you don't want to pick anything else back up. Then this is coming back to you. You want to lose weight? You're going to have to make some changes. You're going to have to choose something else. But you're not going to lose weight just because you take some little pill and not be healthy. Because we're talking about this relationship with us. I've got to make peace with me, if I got to lose some weight, then I got to exercise more. I mean, you know the deal. But the key to why I'm showing you this is letting go is also about holding on. And I choose what to let go of, and I choose what to hold on to. Thank you. I choose this. And a lot of you are not aware, 2 A words, awareness, accountability. You're not aware of what you're choosing. You are aware of what you want to let go of, but primarily that's because of judgment. Because you beat yourself up over it. Because you make yourself wrong. You got to get rid of the judgment. And so, this theory is called the banana. The banana theory is very simple. You got a bamboo box. This is how they catch monkeys in India. This is how they do this. It's amazing. They put a bamboo box over a piece of fruit. Now the bamboo box, of course, has 4 sides and on the top. Has no bottom. There's no door. There's no opening because it's not a cage. It's a bamboo box. They put it on top of a piece of fruit, a banana, or it could be a mango. And then they attach the box to the ground so you can't lift it up. The monkeys walk up to this box and they want this piece of fruit. There's no way to get in it, so they squeeze their hand through the bamboo, grab onto the banana, try to pull the banana out, can't because the bamboo is too close together. So here's the visual. It is a monkey beside the box with its hand inside holding onto a piece of fruit. If the monkey drops the banana, pulls the hand out, the monkey's free. The monkey sits there all day and all night holding onto this piece of fruit so the other monkey can't get it. They check these boxes once every 24 hours, and this is how they catch monkeys in India. You and I are these monkeys. Our hands are constantly inside this cage holding on to something. How many of us get caught holding on to a birthday is coming? Excuse me. You're getting a year older, and you start getting all goofy because your birthday's coming up. No cards, no party, no cake. Don't even acknowledge my birthday. What's your deal? It's either about judgment or fear. I'll tell you what, little 11-year-old Maddie had life figured out better than you do. This kid figured out at 11 years of age how to do life better than a lot of us at 40, 50, and 60. Get over yourself. Go the other direction. Drop it. Change your pattern. My birthday's coming up next month. I want a 30-day celebration. I strongly encourage cards, presents, gifts. Take me out to lunch. I'm celebrating for a month. Why? Because I survived another year. I mean, I had it several years ago where my dad died, my dog died, and 2 of my best friends died. It was a very intense year, 1997. And I will tell you that my birthday that came up that year, it was one of those birthdays where it was that turnaround, because I had been in this sort of pattern where, what do you want? I don't want anything. I got everything I need. Not a victim, but certainly not fun. And I started thinking, especially, about one of my 2 friends in particular, because he's my age. I go, man, Roger would do anything to be alive. I got to get over me. This is about me. My whole reaction to these birthday things, that's about me. What the heck am I about? Why do I continue to get so what is it? You see, the key to awareness is when you get past your judgment, you'll go find it. And you'll go, I think I don't like to be self-conscious. I think that's part of, it's that introvert on the Myers-Briggs. In spite of the fact that I can stand up here and do this, it's just, I don't like to be the center of attention. So, but I need to find a way to celebrate it. But here's where it got even better. I need to give you the opportunity to celebrate it. Because that's what my wife wanted. She said, let me celebrate your birth. I don't care if you wish you were dead. You know? And I go, okay, I got to get over me. I'm not saying this. You understand that there's a fine line between what I'm trying to teach you about getting past judgment and getting over me? I'm making me more like a turn on a television and turn on the Weather Channel. And you watch a front coming to Lancaster. And you're looking at the green and the yellow and maybe red. Now, is that weather about you? No. It's just weather, isn't it? It's just information. Every time we launch a space shuttle, weather is a huge part of the space program. We're paying attention. Flight, you can't have a flight program and not pay attention to weather. Farmers, pay attention to weather. But that information on the screen is just information. It's not about me. I got to get myself out of the way that I can start looking at the information life has given me. The green, the yellow, the red. Maybe it's going to be a sunny day. But all it is Weather Channel, information. How you feel about me, information. What you want to say to me, information. So my wife says, I want to have a conversation. It's the Weather Channel. I can sit and listen to what she has to say and not flip out. Because that's not the Weather Channel. That's the Stephen King novel. When I flip out, I'm listening with the voice of fear, not the voice of reason. The voice of reason says information. The voice of fear said, she's going to say something bad. Well, wait a minute. Let's look at the data. She's the one that loves me. My pattern is not of being loving. My pattern is defensive, reactive, engaged, crazy, goofy. You know, and yes, I got a lot of deep roots from this experience. But my job now is to use those roots. I'm in charge of my choices. And the single most important choice for me to start making is what I let go of. You let go of those things you have no control over. You got no control over A76 or some appraisal system or whatever else they come up with that's going to be something that you may disagree with. You're just going to have to do it. Give it as little energy as possible and get past it. But don't let it change your mood. Don't let it change your chemistry. You know, don't let it take your spirit away. You know, speaking of spirit, when the Space Shuttle Columbia crashed, and all 7 crew members were students of mine, the commander was one of my coaching students. And it just, my family has never seen me cry like this. I couldn't control it. It's really weird when you can't control it. When you're doing everything you can to just kind of screen it. You know, and I was thinking, whoa, this is just knocking, this took me out. And I spent 2 months in East Texas. And it was amazing, this little town of Hemp Hill, Texas. It's a town of 950 people, close to the Louisiana border. You know what they did? The astronauts landed in their community. And in the first 3 days, they found 5 of the astronauts. And they couldn't find the other 2 bodies. And so this little town printed these shirts that said their mission became our mission. And they made it their mission to find these 2 children. Because for some parents out there, they got 2 kids lost in the woods. And the woods of East Texas are full of predators. This is a bad scene. So you had women in their 70s searching in the woods. You had people walking all day. You had people staying up all night praying. You had people doing everything in their you know. This little town of 950 people. NASA wasn't there. This is not FEMA. This is not EPA. This is the town of Hemp Hill that took it on to find a way to find these last 2 bodies. And it took them 7 days to do this, to find the last 2 crew members. And the story was so amazing. There are people, this is the poorest county in Texas. And people, they didn't have a farm. They had a single chicken. They killed their chicken and cooked it and brought it in to feed the volunteers. You know how many of us at a garage sale, we struggle with what the price to put on different items? Wait a minute, the whole reason for doing the garage sale is to let go of stuff, you price it to move. And someone says, I'll give you a quarter for this. No way, I want at least $3. And then later that night, you're packing it up. You could have gotten a quarter. The purpose is not for you to make money. It's to get rid of. It's a letting go exercise. You could have done this with a lot less energy, which is what number 2 is, if you would have given it away free. That's your choice. But what I learned was that astronaut number 6 and number 7 was found because of the power of the human spirit. It is not because they were supposed to. It is because they believed in who they were and what they were doing. It is why the movie Braveheart is so powerful. The Scottish won because they believed in freedom, in the English army, much bigger, much better equipped, were doing duty. Some of you work with people doing duty. And some of you believe in making a difference. You're here because you want to be. Belief is critical. And one of the byproducts of belief is energy. And so this theory is called the theory of the pie. I want you to imagine waking up each morning and you're handed a pumpkin pie, a pecan pie, whatever your favorite pie is, you're handed the pie. So before you leave the bed, you're handed your pie. Now this pie is equal to the amount of energy that you have all day. So in other words, I'm creating a visual for you, a metaphor, that energy is finite. You know what I'm telling you is true because you would never come home tired at the end of the day if there were limitless pies. You would never be tired if pie was limitless. Now, energy management is what makes time management work. Energy makes time work. Time is nothing without energy. If you have time and you have no energy, you're not going to do anything with the time. Have a weekend off and be exhausted and watch how little you get done. Go out on a date with somebody and be exhausted and see how little fun you have. It takes energy to have fun. It takes energy to sleep. But we define our life around energy. You just don't know it. But when you're having a good time, guess what you're getting? Energy. Read a book. You find one chapter, one more chapter, one more chapter, one more chapter. While you're looking at the clock, and you're going, do I have time to stay up longer? Well, the book's giving you all this pie. You see, some things give us energy. And you go from your pumpkin pie shape to this big pie. Don't you know some people that have enormous amounts of energy? And then depression, which is dinner mint. And grief, which is no pie. You will be different as a man and as a woman based on the size of your pie. And I'm asking you to be accountable to who you spend pie on every day, regardless of the size of the pie you have. Now, you only get one pie per day, and all the pies are not the same size. So those are the 2 requirements. Those are the rules. And I want you to see, so let's just pretend we have a video camera in your bathroom. I want you to see that some of you who have been depressed, so you're having a dinner mint day, maybe a dinner mint week, maybe a dinner mint month. Some of you who are fighting depression, because this is a battle. This is a huge battle. And depression can win if you don't, because talk about toughness. You have to become, and you got to give into it sometimes, get some strength back, kind of re-vector your attitude. And then you got to come out with both guns fighting, because if you don't, depression's going to win. And you can forget about the medication to a certain extent, because sometimes the medication just gives you an excuse not to do your work. Because coming out fighting is your work. But I want you to see this, that some of you in your morning routines do the same thing whether you're high pie or dinner mint. Let's say that rug that you have in your tile, if it's not straight. Some of you look down and you go, I have a crooked rug. Now, when you got a big pie, you can bend over and straighten your rug and get it in line. And when you got your towel on the towel rack and you see that the bottom is longer than the front, you can straighten it so it's even. But on a Dittermint day, you got to go into the banana theory and let it go. Let me take you back to the banana theory. I want you to hold on. Hold on to those bananas. Your humor, your character, your integrity, your passion. Let go of those things you have no control over, those things that are little. The pie theory is about two things. Now, you know the requirements. You get one pie per day, and they're not all the same size. But that's not what it's about. The pie theory is about two things. One is your job is to increase energy whenever you can. You stay up late with a friend. It's amazing. Some of you that want to go to bed ridiculously early can have a friend come in from out of town, and you laugh, and you're staying up late, and it's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, you're going, oh, I can't believe this. Why? You got pie from a friend. See a good movie. You can stay up past 10 o'clock if you're doing something that's giving you energy. But some of you are making decisions in your life, and judgment, by the way, takes tremendous energy. This takes energy to do that. You see this? Energy. A lot of you have very small pies, and you're still doing this. So how much energy are you going to have for maybe a smile? It takes energy to smile. It takes energy to judge. Which would you rather spend energy on? You choose. That's what this talks about. You choose. I'm just telling you that you're living out the choices that you've been making. You're living proof of the choices you've been making. How do we get pie? You got to live the truth. You got to live the truth. One of the keys to replenishing your energy is truthfulness. If you're living with somebody you really don't like, you're going to come home and you're going to have no energy just being home. But if you're with somebody you really do like, it's amazing how you can have a job that can just take it away from you, and you can come home and you just replenish. And then you get into serious burnout when you don't like either. But I'll tell you what, the relationship and the job is nothing compared to you against you. Truthfulness is big. Of all of not all of the values, but between work, home, health, and fun. Work, home, health, and fun. Work, home, health, and fun. Which is the most important? A lot of people say home. A lot of people say health. But the research says fun. Because when you like the people at home, you're a different man or woman. And when you like what you're doing health-wise, you'll keep doing it. But if you're in a diet you hate, it's short-term, and you're with people out of duty, not out of belief, it will be, if not short-term, it will at least be fake blue. This is what most of you spend your energy on. You spend most of your pie at work. And I'm asking you, I want you to replay your work days back and say, who are you giving energy away to and you're not getting anything back on? You got to ask yourself, if you're investing energy in certain people, is there a payoff? So here's the most important rule for this. You got to ask yourself, because the rule is you can't enlighten the unconscious. So you got to ask yourself, the question to keep in front of you is, are they conscious? Are they conscious? And if you ask the question, you go, are they smart? That's not the question. Are they conscious? In other words, will they take the information you're about to give them and do something with it? Because a lot of you spend your pie on people who don't get it. They don't change. They're never going to change. And then all of a sudden you have no pie and you're a victim. And you know how you can tell? Because you come home and tell stories. Frank was at work. So you're basically telling your partner that Frank got your pie because they're not going to get it. And so guess what? You start looking at this and you go, well, who am I giving my energy away to? Because I'm not getting it. My partner's not getting it. Who's getting my energy? And you know who's getting your energy? The things that you dislike the most and the people that you dislike the most. Now you tell me if that's conscious. Is this taking care of yourself? Part of what you've got to do is you've got to figure out how to spend less energy on the people who are most difficult. If someone comes up to you and they say, you know, Roger, I just don't like you. I know. I only want to give them a sliver. Just a little sliver. Because anything, even a sarcastic back, well, I don't like you either. That took a little more than a sliver. You see how it works. Someone says, you're an idiot. Okay. Low pi response. You got to master low pi responses. So if some unconscious man were to say, is this PMS today? Some of you flip out. You go, I'll show you PMS. Boom, and you go, you must have a big pie because you just gave a big chunk away. There's a lot of unconsciousness around you, and stop giving them your energy. You're in charge of your energy. And the people around you are very intentional about taking your pie. There are pie robbers, professional pie robbers, and they know exactly how to get your energy. They are difficult, they're confrontational, they like conflict, they'll be disagreeing intentionally. And some of you just like the peace. You're so easy to control, it's not funny. So a lot of your difficult people are difficult by design. Look at who's depleting your pie and learn how to go low pi. Look at how to replenish your pie and do it. You don't need therapy for this. Do the things that feed you. If you like to read, read. If you like to walk, walk. If you like to eat, eat. Do what you like to do. Be with people you like. All right, and this is last. Could you do me a favor, come up just for a second? Yeah, real quick, because you're bigger than me, I think. And even if you're not, I need you just for a second. All I want you to do is push me. Just push my shoulder. There you go. A lot of us work with people. A lot of us work with people who bug us. Do it again, please. You just come to work. You just want to have a normal day, and you work with. And your first name?
Warren.
Warren. So. The code name I use is either Bob or Frank normally, so this would be Warren Bob. Okay. Kind of push me again, Warren? Okay, now, you come to work, you're just trying to do your job, keep doing it, and who's in control here? Now, Warren Bob. Now I'm in control, but I'm going to show you how. I'm giving my control away. And I keep thinking, this is really bugging me. So I go home and I talk to my wife, I go, Warren Bob's making me nuts. I got no pie. You know what? I'm sick of this. And watch what we do. Both hands out. Keep going. Who's going to lose? Isn't that what we do? Don't we do mischief with? So, what I want you to see is that I keep thinking, this is the way we think, if I can change Warren Bob, I can go from red to blue. If I can get Warren, because Bob's my code name for those of you that missed that, if I can change Warren Bob, if I can change Bob, I make Roger happy. So you see how we keep thinking, I change my internal by changing my external? Now, I can't change him because he's bigger than me. I can't change my kid's leukemia. We may beat it, but in order to beat it, what do we have to do? I got to put my energy into me. So I got to get myself balanced. All right, now, Warren, push me. You see how different it is? All right, push harder now. Now, you know he can knock me over, because life's going to knock you over. But here's the key to this. I want you to see what happens if I lift my leg. You're not going to tell in the back, but if I lift my leg up just a little bit, just even 1 inch off the ground. Now, push gently, Warren. Watch what happens. Do you know how many of you come into work high leg? You come in, your legs up. You know, I missed that stoplight. I hate this. And you go to a meeting, and you got Warren's in your meeting. Difficult people can tell when your leg's up. It takes nothing for them to push you. You know, they do have radar. So here's the trick. And since they're videotaping, we're going to do this kind of at an angle here. All right, now Warren, let me show you something. Number 3, watch what happens. Real high leg day, push. Watch what happens. What happens? Nothing, because I have what? Push. I got support. Let's thank Warren for helping out. So the object is to increase your balance, and on your low balance days, you need to have high support. So let me give you the visual, and we're going to end on this. This is not support. Most of you think that when you're a support for somebody, you make them feel better. They're having a bad day, you make them feel better. Here, have a cookie. Let's go get a drink. Let's go shopping. We think in terms of manipulating emotional response. And that's why so many kids, when they come home from school, how was your day? Fine. They fake blue. How many meetings do you sit in where somebody at this Air Force base asks you what you think and you fake blue? You have some real red feedback, but you won't give it because you know it's going to lower their circle, get them upset. You'll be punished. It's not worth it, so you stay quiet. We lost 7 astronauts because of that. There are some engineers that saw that we had some problems we didn't see. We chose not to see. I mean, you know, this has been a problem we've been having for 20 years with the shuttle, so this was not a problem with this first flight. We just didn't think the foam would hurt us. It's amazing how many things we don't think will hurt us that can kill us. This is what support looks like. This is what the wall looks like. Support will be those people, those things that are with you where you are while you hurt. They take no interest in raising you to feeling good. In other words, when I'm your friend, if I'm your support, I'm going to be with you while you hurt. My job's not to make you feel good. You see the difference? That's our drug culture, you know, get high. We lean on people to get us high. We do that. But the best support is with us while we're low. It's why dogs and cats, dogs, I haven't had many cat experiences, so I'll speak for my own, but dogs, my dog, I can be really upset, and my dog's with me while I'm upset. My dog puts no energy, no pie into raising my number. My dog is sitting beside me while I'm hurting. We need retriever skills. There was a group in San Diego, a group of second graders, and one of their friends, second grader, got cancer, leukemia. Went through chemo and radiation. It was a big deal, and it was really scary for all these kids. And it was time for this little boy to come back to school, and the parents were terrified because his hair hadn't grown back. And kids are brutal. And he walks into this classroom after he'd been gone for a while. And there's this big sign on the wall, and it said, "Welcome to the Bald Eagle Club." And every one of the second graders in this classroom had shaved their heads, including the teacher. And they did this so that if any of the kids would tease this kid for being bald, they'd have to take on this whole class. San Diego. What would make somebody shave their head for you? There's a police officer in Westminster, Colorado, whose 18-year-old son gets leukemia, and he's going through this chemo and losing his hair, and Dad's really, really emotional. He gets furious, and he grabs this razor, and Dad shaves his head and throws the razor at his son and said, "You know, it may be the only thing we can control about this whole cancer ordeal is the speed in which we watch your hair fall out." And so his 18-year-old son is shaving his head, and they're both, they're just crying and hugging each other, and they got it over with. And this police officer goes to work the next day, and 70 police officers and firefighters had shaved their heads, and one woman dispatcher had shaved their heads. And this wasn't even for him, this is for his kid. You know we are in this thing called life, and it's working when one of two things: A, that you would shave your head for someone else, or B, someone would shave their head for you. I mean, what type of man is this cop? This guy could not have been indifferent or unconscious or, difficult or mean-spirited for 70 people to shave their heads for his kid. We manage our stress when we become that person. We just have to become good people. We have to find a way to collectively share our fears. We have to find a way to overcome this stuff that is relentless in life. And a lot of it's just, it's stupid, but in the end, it's just all red. Reconnect with the human species. Reconnect with yourself, and you're going to find your capability is going to go through the ceiling. Anyway, I really appreciate the energy that you've spent and you've shared with me. I hope that you've learned something, and it was a pleasure. Eugenia, thanks for bringing me in. It was a pleasure spending this time with you. Good luck. Thanks.